Hello everybody, it's Foxy speaking, and welcome to another episode of Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats. And today I will be your host. Is this right? Okay, yes, that should be alright. And in this episode, this is an episode of a gardener. A gardener, really, who had, he used to be a gardener, but eventually worked his way into being a builder. This person, in a way, was a workaholic to some extent. He didn't know what to do on his days off. All he could ever think about was digging up a hole in his home garden, or digging up a hole in the park and building a shed with it, or planting a tree and all that, or churn it up. But he knew that if he did that, he'd probably have to pay a hefty fine if he did something like that without council consent and all that. So, in a way, he was quite an unusual character, this builder. Quite a fairly unusual character, but an interesting one all the same. But one day, on his day off, he was sitting at home in his living room reading his newspaper, until his telephone rang. Ring, 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 ring. Oh, hello, the person said. The person ringing him was his friend. His friend Tom. Tom Graves. Hi, Tom Graves. Good to see you. Yeah. I'm more than happy to meet you, at the pizza restaurant this afternoon. It's not too far from me, I'll just be walking over. Okay, I'll see you at 12:30. Goodbye, Tom. And so he put his phone down. Often he wears yellow overalls and a grey t-shirt, the man, but because he was meeting his friend, he decided to wear something different. But the only thing he could ever wear were either overalls or possibly a flight suit. I mean, he had a shirt and a suit only to go to weddings, but the only thing he would wear, really, to meeting up with friends or having a family gathering and all that, or anniversary parties, were like these space flight suits or different coloured overalls. But because he was meeting his friend, he decided to put on his yellow flight suit, which did surprise the person in his house, since he was the lodger in the house. So he went into his bedroom and went into his wardrobe, and it was like, flight suit, overalls, no, the overalls will not do any good for a pizza restaurant. Flight suit, yellow flight suit. He sort of modified it to some extent, because before it did not have a British flag sticker on it. It before just had the sticker that said the make of the company that made the casual flight suit. Well, it wasn't a flight suit, it was really a flight costume that was made into a flight suit. It was all he would wear, really. But instead he decided to put a sticker on it. But he nearly put the sticker of a British flag on it, but instead he just put a sticker with just a few colours on it. It was only just his trademark way of doing it, with the man. And so he put his flight suit on. Obviously he had underwear on and everything, and he obviously put off his builder's t-shirt, and he put his builder's overalls to one side, and instead put on a white t-shirt, and obviously to put on with his suit, and got his suit done, and put the space collar neck on it. And once that was done, put on his some black laced boots on, and before long he walked out of the door of his home and walked his way to the pizza restaurant. He walked his way to the pizza restaurant, and there, standing outside of the pizza restaurant, was a smart-looking man wearing a wearing yellow beige coloured trousers, a blue shirt and a white jacket and a white coat, sort of lightweight coat, since it was, in a way, summer season. The man instantly recognised who this man was. "Tom Graves," the man said. "Ah, hello, Stephen," said Tom Graves, who was the man with the yellow beige trousers, the blue shirt and the white jacket. "Nice to see you, my good friend," Tom Graves said. "Well, it's good to see you," Stephen said. "Shall we go inside the restaurant, Tom?" "Oh yes, any word you say, Stephen," Tom said, and both Stephen and Tom, the two men, walked inside the pizza restaurant. They walked up to the counter and asked, "Is there a table for two?" He asked the person at the counter. The person at the counter was a lady, and she said, yes, there will be a table for two if I escort you there," the lady said. And so the lady took them over to the table, and so Stephen and Tom, the two men, walked over to the table, and they sat down at the table they were escorted to. And once they were sat at the table, they began having silly conversations and began laughing about certain things and all that, or matters of their careers, or what they've seen in life and all that. "Do you remember the time when I was talking to you about a building project I was working on, Tom?" Stephen said. "There was a mistake once. We were digging in the wrong place for the foundation of the building," he said. Tom laughed. "That, Stephen, was one of your funniest stories yet," and both were giggling and smirking with laughter as they reminisced over that conversation. "And do you remember when we had to build a new airy shelter for a railway station?" Stephen said to Tom. "Oh yes, that was quite funny," Tom said when listening to Stephen's words. "Very, very funny." Both the two men were having lots of fun, laughing and joking about certain things. They even told a few jokes, even a few knock-knock jokes, not to mention, and really just reminiscing about some of the funniest things they'd seen in their lifetimes, and having some of the, above and beyond all, some of the silliest conversations, really. Before long, the waiter asked if they'd like anything to eat and drink. They ordered their pizzas. Stephen ordered himself a pepperoni pizza, and Tom ordered himself a nice chicken and chorizo pizza with a few olives on it. And so the waiter took their orders. Where was I? The waiter took their orders, and whilst they were waiting for their food to arrive, and they also had ordered a few beers to drink because they were having a few pints together. Despite it being the afternoon, they were not drinking, they were not heavy drinkers. So they were like having some friendly conversations and telling some silly jokes, and whilst they were talking. And do you remember the time we were doing I had to do road works? The person with the drill, he forgot to plug it into the plug, and he'd forgotten he had to plug the drill into the power generator to get it working. He thought it was battery powered. "Oh yes, Stephen, that was funny," Tom said, and was laughing. He burst with laughter. As the two men's conversations continued, their pizzas arrived, and alongside with their pint glasses of beer. Dinner is served, the waiter said. No, lunch is served, sorry, the waiter said. Thank you very much. Okay, well, bon appetit, Tom said, and both Stephen and Tom tuck into their pizza lunches. Obviously they were not talking whilst they were eating, but they were more than happy to just silently enjoy their pizza meals. Before long, their pizza meal was finished, and obviously they drank up their pints of beer, but they not completely drank it, they just drank it steadily and carefully. But before long, shortly after their pizza meal was over, they'd finished their pints of beers. They only had just the 1 pint each together. And then they requested for the bill from the waiter. The bill for the food was paid, and once the bill for their lunch was paid, they respectfully got up from their chairs and walked out of the restaurant, and paid their thanks to the pizza restaurant staff, and walked happily out of the restaurant. Well, see you again next week then, Stephen, Tom said. Yes, Tom, I shall see you next week, and isn't there an event going on next week? I said, oh yes, at the museum. There's going to be a nice fun event at the museum, Tom said to Stephen, and so they both shook hands and said goodbye, we'll see you next week at the museum event, both Tom and Stephen said to each other. And so Tom walked his way to the bus stop to get back home, and Stephen walked back home from the pizza restaurant, since it was really not too far from where he lived. He got back home and sat down and began to watch some television, but he decided to watch something fun, like a fun movie. Instead, he ended up watching one of the Star Wars movies. Enjoying his fine weekend ahead, though it was only a Saturday, but he knew that Sunday was going to be an even better day, and then he's got his new full head of a new work week ahead with a building project and all that. The end. Thanks everybody indeed for watching, but if I did at any point, Dave, Brian, if you were watching, if at any point I got lost with words, I am extremely sorry. But thanks everybody indeed for watching, and I shall certainly see you in the very next video. Ta-ta, another time. From Foxy.